Hello everyone, my name is Nick Strapoli and I'm here to talk to you about one of my many PowerPoints. I've named this one the Mutant Coalition, and I bet you can guess where this one is going. Essentially, the Mutant Coalition is basically just a group of mutants who were imprisoned by the US government because they were mutants and they didn't understand what mutants were, and so they broke out and they became a third party in the war in the X-Men universe, along with the X-Men themselves and Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants. As you can see right here, here is a list of several of the members that are in the coalition. This one is Kyler Walton, whose name is Memento, and he is the founder and leader of the coalition. His powers include telekinesis, mutant detection, and flight. He can also levitate off the ground a few feet. Henry Noisite. I call him Ektape, which is pronounced Ek-Tip. His powers include shapeshifting, and as a regular abilities, he has cleverness, flexibility, and he's skilled in martial arts. It says right here that he was a former circus performer before being sent to the mutant prison where Memento was. Now this one is one of my favorites. I call him Giovanni DeFranco, and his alias is Flare Star. His powers include the ability to create radiant energy, which means heat energy. He can fly, he can teleport, he can create a shield, he can create exploding supernovas, go Super Saiyan, as in like Dragon Ball Z or something like that, and he can self-destruct and reform whenever he wants to. Flare Star is the one who beat on Memento when he first arrived at the prison. He was sort of the alpha mutant in that prison anyway, and he is also the father of Blitzkrieg, which you will later see in the slideshow. Cameron Burke. I call him Tantrum. His powers include super strength and near invincibility. Tantrum sacrificed his life to save Memento from rapid gunfire from a anti-mutant U.S. Army general. And near invincibility is proven when he cannot deflect bullets. Because of his skin, he can't. He is vulnerable to bullets. Jordan Lyle, I call him Shrapnel. Now I know there's already a Shrapnel character in the Marvel universe, but I'm making up my own. His powers include the ability to create metal shrapnel projectiles from his hands or his body. He can climb walls. He can create acid from his bodily fluids, whether it be blood or sweat or tears or whatever. And he can also turn into this gray shrapnel spiky form if he's threatened. Shrapnel is also the son of the mutant army general Justin Lyle, whom I just mentioned before in Tantrum's profile. He killed Tantrum, essentially. Now, Nikolai Landers. I call him Frog, and basically he's just my version of the already existing X-Men character Toad. Ashley Windsor. I call her Falcon. Her powers include, well, obviously the ability to fly and bird-like wings, with also the added ability to shoot talons from her fingernails if she as an offense. And Falcon is the wife of Memento, and she gave birth to their son Shepard, which is his nickname, not his real name. Lucian Walton. His name is Shepard, and his abilities are levitation and short-time invisibility, meaning he can become invisible for maybe 10-15 minutes at the most. And as I just mentioned, Shepard is also the son of Memento and Falcon. Cole Duncan. His name is Ferocity, and his powers include the ability to turn into this air or fire tornado that can grow up to the size of a schoolhouse, and it's so powerful that he can even burrow through the ground and even metal such as titanium. Patrick Connery. I named him Nanosec, and he's basically a rival to the already existing X-Men character Quicksilver. Danielle Connery. She is the sister of Nanosec, and her alias is Skyrocket. Her powers include flight and the ability to shoot energy fields, like whether they be exploding or just to knock out technology, whatever the matter may be, she can use her energy fields for whatever purpose. And she is rumored to be in love with the mutant Lieutenant Flarestar, although Flarestar is assumed to have a wife because son. Thomas Charnon. His alias is Snare, and his powers include the ability to shoot durable vines from his body, his hands, his mouth, and he can also turn into a lot of vines and burrow through the ground like tree roots. Snare was a nature protester at several events where he tried to protect trees, wildlife, animals, and all that kinds of stuff from getting bulldozed to create like more civilization and that kind of stuff. Draylon Rancifer. His name is Steelwork. His abilities include disintegration waves and shield generation. Now, disintegration means that anything he touches turns into like dust or something like that, ash. And following a freak accident in a place that he worked, Steelwork's mouth was permanently fused with a steel mouth mask, giving him his alias Steelwork. Samantha Greenwood. I call her Hive. Her powers include insect control, acid generation, barbed stingers, and wall climbing. She, of course, was a former entomologist, which means that she studied insects as a career, and she was arrested for attempting to use her abilities to turn a woman into a butterfly. Jason Seger. His alias is Wraith. His powers include smoke transformation, intangibility, meaning he can go through walls without injury or without being noticed, acid generation, and the immunity to psychic attacks, though he can't be that immune to Professor X's powers. And there is a bit of irony in this character because he doesn't believe in ghosts, and yet he calls himself Wraith. Chase Wilson. I named him Doppelganger, which means double or copy, something like that. And his powers include self-multiplication, meaning he can create numerous clones of himself, identical clones, and use them as like attacks, diversions, whatever. And he's also heavily obsessed with himself. Like you ever see a guy who looks himself in the mirror constantly. Jeremy Cantwell. I named this character Maelstrom. His powers include cyclone generation from his hands, and he can also become this giant tornado that can range from to the size of a building. And Maelstrom wanted to be a news weatherman because he was so interested in the weather. Terrence Gilbert. I named this character Reverb, and his powers include the ability to create extreme pulsations from his body or shock waves to create earthquakes, tsunamis, and sinkholes. He once used his powers to get out of the military because he was forced into the military by his parents. Now, Jacoby DeFranco. This is Blitzkrieg, whom I mentioned when we looked at Flarestar. His powers include fire generation and control, and he can also turn into this magma form, which is his body looks like he's completely made of magma. And as mentioned before, Blitzkrieg is the son of Flarestar. Cecilia Valere. I named this character Silhouette. Her powers include shadow teleportation, meaning she can go into like any kind of shadow, whatever size it may be, and just run or just like go into another shadow anywhere. And darkness manipulation. Silhouette, of course, is a serious goth girl who likes dark things and just likes being dull and that kind of stuff. Leighton Lawson. I named this character Lash. His powers include elasticity, like how a rubber band gets when you stretch it out. And he's immune to small injuries. Like, if he breaks his forearm, it'll just heal itself because he can, like, bend it to his liking. And until and he was a very obese person before he discovered his powers, and when he did, he used his powers to make himself look more fit by thinning out his body. Next scene, Olivia. This character I named Blinder. Her powers include light manipulation and a shiny rainbow form, which is like not the kind of rainbows you see in like pictures and like cartoon pictures and all that stuff, like an actual rainbow in real life. Blinder is essentially a total opposite of Silhouette, and they both despise each other because Blinder uses light, Silhouette uses darkness. And so you can see the picture there. Finally, we have Kenton O'Hare. I named this character Shark Skin. His powers include water breathing, blue spiky skin, shark teeth, and because he has shark teeth, he has tripled the jaw strength of a regular human, if not stronger. And Shark Skin is the only member of the coalition to have water-based powers. Water-based being water breathing, breathing underwater. So, that's pretty much it for my presentation, and if you like what you saw, you can click on any of my other PowerPoints and check out whatever you want. So, see you next time then.